Hi there guys, and welcome back to another video with myself, Harlequin Dusk. Now today what I wanted to do was break down a lot of information into small bite-sized chunks. There's going to be a series of videos regarding Rise trading card game, or Rise TCG as we like to call it. Today it's all about the summoners. We're talking about the bread and butter, the beating heart of the game, as it were. And so what I want to do is kind of take you down to the board, show you how they interact with each other. You've got the summoners, you've got the level up cards, and what they do is unlock capacity points. So of course I will not just be talking head at you, I'll be showing you how it goes. But yeah, so with that being said, I've also got the next video will be about creatures and doors and showing you how those interact with the cemetery. And then the final one will be about your imminence, your incantations, and pretty much anything else that's left over, to be honest with you. But I will show you, again, I will show you all of this on the board, and we'll kind of work our way through it. It's going to be all kind of interesting. But like I said, so today it is summoners. This one is it? I have asked the creator himself how to pronounce it. A lot of people say Is8 or Wise8 or Izati, but it's actually just Is8, and his brother Ozit. So we'll be talking our way through that one, and as well among all of the summoners, and just like kind of comparing, and also just like giving you guys a general idea of what the summoners do and how they can bounce off each other. Okay, so there you go. Let's go down to the board and talk you guys through it. See you in a sec. Right guys, so what we have here is our official Rise board. So we have all of the zones. This has all been designed and approved by the creator himself, Mr. Francois von Aureli. So on the left, as you can see, you have your place your summoners here, or place one of your summoners here. As you can see, there are two slots. You've also got the levels above those. You've got on the right, you'll have your deck or library there, your cemetery. Just in the middle, and then just below that, the exclusion zone. What's not on the board, where it should be below your two summoners, is your stock and your ether placements, but that's entirely up to you. You can put that wherever you like, but today what we're going to be doing is focusing on our summoners, our level ups, and how they unlock our capacity points. As previously stated, summoners is the beating heart of Rise. As I mentioned in the intro, they control the tempo of your game and are pretty much the nexus around which your game is formed. There are 20 base summoners in the Rise Alpha set, with a few more as bonuses for Kickstarter backers. And I'm going to showcase all of them at the end of this video for you. So when you're looking at summoners, there are three main things that you need to consider. And they are in order of arguable importance, because it's this is my take on it. It may be different for someone else, but this is the order of importance for us. One, the HP, your life. There are various different values depending on which summoner you decide to choose, but these are what you need to win or lose a game. Once both of your summoners on the field are at 0, you've lost a game. And notice I've said both, but we'll get back to that momentarily. Secondly, there are levels and capacity points. Each summoner has a number of levels which also dictate how many capacity points you have access to. At the start of a game, each summoner is at level 1 and has access to 1 capacity point, and as you utilise your level up cards, which can only be used on an untilted summoner once per turn, it's important to add, this level increases and the summoner is given access to an additional cap point. But again, more on this shortly. And third and finally, but by not any means more unimportantly, there are skills. Skills are arguably the key foundations of which around your deck will be built. They act as permanent cards upon which you can call at any time, including at imminent speed, as long as you have the cap point to spend. Skills are many and varied, and finding and matching your two summoner skills effectively is one of the most fundamental arts you will learn when creating and playing your own decks. Health points, or HP, are in their most basic definition the resource which acts as a barrier to you and your opponents losing a game of Rise. If you have no HP, you lose a game, simple as. But as long as you have at least 1 HP on one of your summoners, you're still in the game and could potentially, as unlikely as it may seem at the time, still go on to win, or at the very least, not lose first, say a multiplayer game. On the flip side, if you manage to get every one of your opponents to total 0 HP, you will win the game and forever bask in the glory of Rise greatness. As I mentioned earlier, and what you'll notice when looking at this map designed specifically for Rise play, there are 2 spaces for your summoners. The summoners work in tandem throughout your game, supplying cap points and skills, both of which I will discuss in subsequent segments, and most importantly for now, your HP. Your total HP is the total amount of the 2 summoners added together. As you can see here, HP amounts on the summoners varies, meaning that players may start matches with a higher or lower amounts of HP depending on the partnership you have chosen. There are of course ways to gain HP through skills and playable cards. However, in the current base format, rather than having runaway HP gains which take 3 years to resolve in certain other TCGs which we could mention, it has been deemed appropriate that the maximum number of HP a player can have is 30 per summoner. So a player can increase their total to 60 HP before the health gain is stopped. This HP cap is subject to change though, and as the game evolves and new formats are created, of course, there will be different totals. So, in my opinion, HP is the most important resource in the game, and you have to guard it with everything that you have. However, the number of health points your summoners bring to the party are definitely not the only consideration you need to make when making your selections for your partnership. In addition to the all-important HP numbers, summoners also give you access to another invaluable resource: capacity points, cap points, or even just cap for short. Playing creatures, imminents, incantations, and skills all cost cap points. For the vast majority of the time, they cost 1 cap point to bring into play, with notable exceptions where cards cost more, which I'll cover in an upcoming video. For now, to save on time and complexity, let's just say all cards cost 1 cap point. To be able to use your cap points, you must tilt your summoner, at which point you can use as many cap as has been attributed to them. Remember though, that if you tilt a summoner but don't use all their cap, it's all gone at the end of your turn. It doesn't stack for your next turn or anything like that. The amount of cap points your summoner has access to is determined by your summoner's level, which is in turn determined by how many level up cards are attached to it. Once each turn, you may play 1 level up card from your hand and place it on the untilted summoner of your choice. This summoner goes up 1 level, gains access to its next skill, and it also gains an additional cap for you to use on your current turn and each turn going forward. You cannot put a level up on an already tilted summoner, so be careful when playing. You don't want to tilt a summoner before time is due. As you can probably guess, you'll definitely want at least 1 level up card in your hand when starting your turn to maximize efficiency of play and to make sure you are rising to the occasion. You see what I did there? Let me give you an example of how this looks in play. So, here I am starting my first turn in a match. I have 2 untilted summoners, each with 1 cap point and on their very first level. I have 2 level ups in my hand, but I know I can only play 1 of them this turn. I look at my summoners and my hand, and I see that there's definitely 1 card I want on the battlefield. However, I also see that one of my summoners has a level 2 skill I want to use this turn. I make a call, and I say I want to tilt this summoner because I want to get out my creature, incantation, skill, the imminent, whichever one I want to play, using the 1 cap he provides. I then play my level up card, on this occasion a rank infinite level up, but there are variants which I'll showcase again at the end of this video. And they add different effects when attached to a summoner. So now my summoner has 2 cap and access to his level 2 skill. Again, if I want access to these, I have to tilt my summoner. So now I've tilted the summoner, I can play my skill, and I have 1 cap to spend how I see fit, be it playing a card from my hand or using my summoner's level 1 skill. Crucially, the amount of levels and thus skills a summoner has is the limit for the cap points they provide. If I have a 3 skill level summoner in play, then they can only ever give me 3 cap, once the level up cards have been applied of course. I can attach as many level ups as I like, I could even have 15 attached, but I would still only have 3 cap for my efforts. You may wonder why you'd attach more than what the required number of level ups to any summoner. Well, as I mentioned a second ago, some level ups offer cheeky bonuses such as HP gain and stock gains, or incredibly powerful ones like the pristine level up shown here. And these all apply even if your summoner is at maximum level, so it's worth bearing this in mind. It's also important to remember that I can leave my summoner untilted if, for example, I had a decent protective card in my hand which I may want to use on another player's turn. But I think I'm getting ahead of myself, and that's a conversation for another video. For now, you should have a basic understanding of how level up and cap points work, how you gain access to them, and how your summoner can now control the tempo of your game. I've mentioned skills a lot in the previous sections, and with good reason. For the most part, these are the parts of your summoner card that will probably pay the most attention to. Skills, as previously stated, are essentially cards which you can always have access to, provided your summoner is at the correct level. Usually these are some amazing powers that you can call upon at will. Some can be nice little bonuses, others are absolute game changers. The amount of skills your summoner provides will vary from summoner to summoner. Some will offer what may seem a paltry 2, others a whopping 5, but this can be deceiving. For example, here we have R182 and Lovia, the 2 skill summoner and the 5. There are a bunch of 3s and 4 skillers in there, in the mix, but let's go to the opposite ends of the spectrum for argument's sake in this video. As you can see, R182 not only has 2 skills, but he also has a very low HP allocation. At first you may think R182 has been dealt a rough hand until you look closely at his skills. His base skill, whilst not exactly setting the world on fire, is definitely solid, giving the flight ability firstly, making it difficult for ground-based creatures to attack and more importantly block his robots, but also buffs them for +1/+1 until the end of turn. This is where, when I said about summoner's skills pretty much being the foundations around your deck build, becomes apparent. Of course, with his base ability, it'd be pretty foolish to play R182 with no robots in your deck, and the same goes for a number of other summoners who specialise in certain types of cards. Lovia is a prime example who likes angels, but we'll talk more on her in about a second. Where R182 really starts to shine, and the reason why his HP number is rather low and why he's capped at 2 skills, thus limiting him to 2 cap points available, is because when he plays his second skill, this guy has no need for cap if you want to play a bunch of imminence. He allows you to play as many as you like, which makes him incredibly deadly when built correctly. So let's not feel too bad for R182, this guy's got teeth. Next we can have a look at Lovia, an incredibly strong angel type summoner. 5 skills means she's got potential cap coming out of her ears, and if we look at her skills, we see that she can be a positive game changer. Primarily, and at lower levels, a healer, she can get rid of diseases, which is important if your opponent has stolen your best creature by casting the madness disease on it. But she can also insta-heal either one of your summoners, and she also buffs your angels for a potential +3/+3 if you can pull it off. People think her 4th skill is a misprint, but if you take into consideration she can heal herself, remember, to a max of 30 HP if she needs to, this isn't the suicide it originally seems. Plus, the inability to block for your opponents can spell their quick demise if they've got low HP levels on their summoners, and you've got some tasty +3/+3 angels on your battlefield. It's also the same for her level 5. People don't seem to understand it at first glance, but if you have some sacrifice mechanics in your deck and a bunch of angel creatures you don't mind losing, it can be a Hail Mary, no angelic pun intended, I apologise guys, which could potentially win you the game. So, with all that being said guys, I think that's it. Here's a showcase of all the summoners we've got thus far, plus a few not finalised ones from the Kickstarter for you lot to peruse. I hope this video has helped to explain a few fundamentals about summoners and you're walking away just a little bit more clued up on the game. My next video will focus on creatures, the cemetery and the exclusion zone, stock and ether. Please like and subscribe, and I look forward to playing a game with you guys in the future. Take care guys. Bye bye.